The MTG podcast is a virtual space for women and minorities in the tech and creative industries.
Tune in as we explore inspirational,
educational,
and community insights
through different perspectives, expanding the diverse cultures and societies that reflect us.
We're more than a designer.
We're more than our name badge.
We're more than the work we produce. Welcome to the More Than Graphics podcast.
We're that tribe.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the More Than Graphics podcast. How do we want to start this? I'm Danielle.
I'm Cicely.
And I'm Priscilla.
And there you have it. The three of us here make up this wonderful tribe, More Than Graphics. So if you're new to the space, we're all about women in tech, women creatives, serving minorities in the spaces of tech and creativity. And we're going to be talking about a really good topic today. But before we even get there, what's good, y'all? What's going on, ladies? How's life? What's new your way? We kind of know for you, Cicely, what's new your way.
Yeah.
But do tell.
So, yep, you might hear it in the background. You might hear them in the background. Yeah. But yeah, so babies are growing beautifully. Sleep is getting better for all of us. So maybe that, maybe we're headed in the right direction there, but just excited to be readjusting to motherhood and being back at work and all the things. And you're going to hear the dog and her squeak toy too, and all the things. But it's just really exciting to kind of be on the beginning of the parenthood journey again and to relive those. Girl, sorry, that was the dog. I'm about to put myself on mute. And to relive kind of those moments you forget, like when you have a kid that's a freshman in high school and then you have newborns, you're like, wow, like I don't remember this part, or maybe I was in zombie mode at that time. So it's really nice to relive some of those moments and to have new memories with these babies.
I love that. Oh my goodness. All right. Priscilla, anything new with you?
Oh, hey, guess what? I'm having another surgery yet again. I'm like becoming a serial surgery person, right? And it's not even like the cosmetic kinds either. So, no, and it's so funny though, Cicely, that you bring up about the the whole baby thing. I'm being in it because I'm getting into it as nostalgic place with my kids. So I've been looking back in my Google photos to clear up things, and I'm remembering when I called it the other day when she was a lowercase Z. When they were lowercase.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, and it was so funny though, because I could see them when they were like small like this, and then now they're just like this to me. And but that's really been great. And just talking a lot with Danielle about what I want to do, like on my downtime when my body can't work, this is still going. So creatively, I'm just trying to think of, what other spaces and stuff I can do. What kind of trouble can this get me in while I'm waiting for this to? And it's a lot.
Like that.
I'm limited though, but it's still a lot. That's probably more dangerous.
I won't say anything about that. I can't attest to anything being truly dangerous on that level. But I am excited for you because I do know that a lot of times when we are we have to be kind of patient in the wait, if you will. And this kind of instills us to be more patient, right? When we're not able to do all the things at once that we want, but it forces us to kind of, retract and rethink and recalibrate. So this is actually a good thing, I feel like, in some areas. And of course, when the body heals, everything else follows, right? Like, yes, I'm wanting that so bad for you.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I don't know what else. Ankles. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of healing, today's episode topic is worthy, and our guest is truly nothing but. So, something I think that we're kind of feeling extra worthy about is our recent nomination in the Women of Podcasting Awards for Society and Culture Podcast. Yes. I'm super excited about that. I was so excited when we received that nomination. And right now, if you have a moment to vote for us, we have an exclusive link on our website at mtgthepodcast.com where you can vote directly for us in this category. So voting ends October 1st. So you've got time to support us with one email address at a time. So again, that information is all at mtgthepodcast.com. And why not vote for women? Because that's a great segue into our next topic. So obviously there's like a ton, right, of commentary right now from the Olympics to the presidential race, whether you are quiet or standing up about any of it, all of it is worth our voice. So anybody want to take the floor and talk about any of these things in and around our spaces right now? There was a really good one recently in the Olympics, talking about this particular topic around Simone and her hair. How we don't talk. Why are we judging this woman for her hair when she's winning gold medals? I'm confused. Like, that really broke my nerve into a lot of areas. And of course, we're seeing a lot of talks in and around women who, quote unquote, look like, act like, presume to be looking like men, quote unquote. What do we do with that? And how is that regulated through the Olympics? But overall, the conversation of just bashing people based upon the prejudice and biases of our own minds, and walking into these international spaces and really labeling the hell and shaming the hell out of us in a lot of areas. I feel like some kind of way about that. So yeah, just kind of throwing that out there. And of course, feminine phenomenon. Let's bring that right out as well. I'm really excited and pumped for what this election will bring in November. But there's a lot of things happening in the world too that are just as equally important. But yeah, leaving it open. Anybody got takes on it?
I have to say, when I think about Simone Biles, everybody was, she's so un-American for taking risks. Remember back a while back, she was like, I got to take a mental health break. I have to take a mental health break.
She's a quitter, man.
She's a quitter. And it was almost like the country felt like she belonged to them. It was like they owned her. And I heard that. And it's the same kind of rhetoric. I'm not getting off topic. I'm going to bring it back, right? It's the same kind of rhetoric they had about Whitney Houston. She destroyed our voice. She's our national treasure. Simone Biles said, no, I am Simone Biles. I need rest. And she took it. It was so many people criticizing her for that. And then we look at what that rest has done. And I can't help but to look at that as a woman in business, as a woman in a highly competitive, creative field that does use up a lot of brain power. How much rest you need to pull some things off, and how rest is part of the business plan. Rest is part of the brand strategy. And I'm just so thankful that Simone didn't listen and give in. Because, if she had succumb to that peer pressure that a lot of us do, perform, give some output right now, not realizing the rest is the output. That's what women need to realize. I really think that. And then she got so much rest, she messed up her shin or something. I don't know. And I kept looking at that bandage on her. I was like, that is pretty correct with the color. I couldn't stop looking at that. But anyway, for her to perform like that, even when she got hurt, that you got to attribute that not just to practice, but to rest. And she is the most awarded gymnast in the world after taking a mental health break. I need every woman to hear and listen to that. You can stop and still meet the goal, because stopping is part of the goal. Resting is part of going to the goal.
I love that. Woo! And amen for all that.
Yes. I love the part that you said about ownership, because I feel like that happens to athletes a lot in general, but I feel like it especially happens to women and women of color athletes, the ones who are exceptional, who break the barriers in their fields. Because then it's like, well, because they're American and they're winning and they're doing so well, of course they're ours. Like, yes, we're going to claim them, but they do something that we don't like. And then all of a sudden, or excuse me, that I wasn't included in the we, but that they don't like. And then it's a problem. And I think a lot of people also glossed over the fact that she had a lot of trauma that was associated with why she needed to take like, no one ever talks about that. Like, we just gloss over the fact that she was sexually assaulted as a child and a young woman by someone who was supposed to be taking care of her, and some of her friends were as well. And nobody was there to protect her other than her family. Where was America then? Where were we protecting, and how are we protecting our national treasure at that point? But she can't protect her mental health after, she's already had some very traumatic physical things happen. She had to testify. I think it was in front of the Senate, maybe. And that was like in court in front of the Senate. It was a Senate committee. she had to go through a lot of things. So she had to relive that thing for however many years it happened. She had to testify and relive it. She had to testify in court. She spoke up against him at his sentencing. So we're just going to gloss over all that part and just say, well, she needed to perform because it was her duty to the United States. Her duty was to take care of herself. And our duty as a country and as, USA Gymnastics was to take care of those women and girls. But we didn't come with our part. So, there's that. But people forget that part. And I think people forget that with women anyways, like childbirth, as someone who just recently experienced childbirth again, childbirth can be traumatic, but, oh, nope, you need to be back at work in 4 to 6 weeks. And that's fine. Being separated from your babies can be traumatic, but no, we care when dogs are separated from their puppies, but we don't care when women are separated from their children. So it's not the same thing. But, well, she had a baby, but that was 6 weeks ago. She should be fine now. Or, oh, well, postpartum depression, it's really bad, but it can't be bad a year from now. It can only be bad when it just happened. So I think that's it's the patriarchy, obviously, but putting these like restraints and constraints on things only when it's beneficial for someone else. It's never benefiting the women. It's never benefiting the people who are, victims and who overcome things. It's only benefiting the bigger agenda, which is the patriarchy. So thank you for bringing up. There's no ownership of anybody to anything. And she didn't know anyone. She owed herself whatever she felt she needed to do to make that possible. She didn't know her teammates. She didn't know the country. She didn't know me, you, anyone else. She owed it to herself if she felt like she needed to proceed and come back and win some more golds. She only owed it to herself. And I think people forget that or they don't care about that. But she had no obligation to the United States, to her family even. It was obligation to herself. And again, kind of going back to our topic today about like building her work back. I think obviously the events that happened with Dr. Nasser or whatever, I'm not even call him doctor, just that guy, whatever happened with him, and obviously it's going to take away some of your worth. She was young, didn't even realize what was actually happening. And then again, to not have the support from the organization that has pretty much helped to shape your career and is applauding you and awarding you for when you do good things, but just can't seem to help you when you actually need help. And there's a predator among, the people who are helping you. So crazy thing. So I love that you said that you talked about ownership, because I think that's something almost very specific to women, and especially women who are in the spotlight. People feel like they own them. Society feels like that they are owed something by these people, and that is definitely not the case.
Fire. I mean, there really is no other word for this, because that's fire. It really is. I love all of this. And again, we talk about these instances where we know we need to do this work, but the other people don't know that we need to do this work. And again, it is no disgrace, no harm, no foul, no faux pas for you to take that pause and say, you know what? Nope. Turn right back around and I'm going to take this pause for myself. And it's not considered an L, even though a lot of people want to paint it as a loss or paint it as a whatever. Let them paint, because you got the marker. You can draw what you want. You can build what you want. It's one of those situations, as you kind of mentioned, Dana, the rest part. The rest is part of the process. It's not a separate thing. It's a part of it. So yeah, that's just so powerful from both of y'all. Woo! I love it. I knew this episode was going to be fire, y'all. I'm just saying, maybe we should name it fire, but I'm just saying, Worthy's really good. For the main event, lean in and let's welcome our guest. She is my clarity deity and my dear friend, Dana.
Dana James Mwangi is an award-winning brand consultant, website strategist, and public speaker who has guided thousands of entrepreneurs in growing their online presence through talks, workshops, and training programs. With over 15 years of experience in brand and web design, Dana leads Cheers Creative, a Memphis-based creative hub that creates standout brand designs and websites for industry leaders, top influencers, and content creators. As the creator of the Brave Branding Academy, Dana is dedicated to helping creative professionals build confidence, push past fears, and lead with bravery to succeed in business. Welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Super excited to be here. Thank you so much. I got a feeling I'm going to have a good time here. I'm so excited.
We have so many questions for you. And so we're going to try to dive in as much as we can, as deep as we can. But really, one of the bigger things that I was so drawn to you by, one, just let alone your energy, right? But I love the fact that you kind of command and demand, a level of expectation. And I think that is something that we as women of color, we see it amongst ourselves, but outside this realm, outside of our sphere, they don't see that. And when they do, sometimes it comes off as combative sometimes. And so when I see your energy and I see that you command spaces, you ask the hard questions, you're not afraid to kind of dive into those deeper conversations, it is so inspiring for so many of us who want to be in that space, but maybe feel reluctant or shy or things along those lines, or feel like they don't have the skill set yet, right?
Yes.
To get out there and put themselves out there. So
Right.
I want to kind of dive right into sharing maybe a moment or time when you had to grow up or out of something, and what did that teach you?
I got to take it back to when I was 26 years old, 3 years out of undergrad with a baby, with a son, and in corporate America, in a place where I wasn't really valued as a corporate graphic designer. And almost every idea got shot down. Almost every concept idea got, just sometimes not getting invited to meetings, having a boss that yells at you because he kind of feels like you can't go anywhere. You're a single mom, because they'll pull that card. And so I felt like I was silenced, and freelance was saving my life and my voice. I was doing freelance on the side, getting into graphic design, but also starting to ask people questions. Why is this named this? Why do you want these colors? Why is this price this? I started becoming nosy. That's where the Audacity muscle started. That's where it started. And now I'm 40 now, and I'm like, this person, this is definitely a muscle, and I continue to have to grow it when I'm submitting bids, when I'm pitching my business, when I'm doing speaking, when I'm moderating. It's like there's a different level of taking up space in your career, whether you're in corporate, freelancer, just starting out in business, or a so-called veteran. Veteran to what? You know what I mean? It's there's always something. Now, like I'm getting ready to onboard some web developers next week after a big overhaul of my business, and I'm just thinking about the leader, that I need to be this time around. It's an ongoing lesson, I think. Ongoing exercise.
I love that. And that is so spot on. I love that you use that Audacity muscle. Yes, flex it, because I love that. Again, a lot of times we as women are made to feel smaller walking into these technology spaces, walking into these creative spaces. And so sometimes we feel intimidated. We feel that imposter syndrome. But learning that that's just a muscle reflex, yes, and it gets greater later, right? We have to keep flexing that muscle in order to get better at using it and wielding it. So thank you for that.
I just want to say what I love is the fact that it's not a talent, it's a muscle, and you can accumulate muscle. You don't have to be born with this. You can learn how to do it. You can read books, but also take time every day to put it in practice, whether it's clearly saying what you need out of your family members, clearly saying what you need out of your friends, clearly saying what you need out of your text message group. Like, anybody can grow this muscle. You keep growing it, and eventually it will be in you to just operate in this way. Because what's funny is you get punished when you don't operate this way. You didn't ask good enough questions, so the project wasn't good enough, and then that's on you too. So I'd rather be the person that, I push buttons, but not necessarily with attitude or the way I'm talking, but pushing buttons is let's think about this a new way.
I love that you mentioned that it's a muscle, because I think it's one of those things that people think like success only happens to a certain type of person, or, I can't be successful because I look like this, and I've never seen anyone who looks like me or who's, walked a similar path. Like you mentioned, being a mother in corporate, that's a wild situation. I have a friend who's going through something right now, very similar situation, where like she had voiced her concern or not concern, but had voiced like in passing that she would like to have children eventually. And then her boss somehow found out she was doing IVF. Like, she didn't tell her she was doing it. I don't know how she found out, but like maybe through HR, because she had to take some time off, which, that's a violation right there. But because she had, used hours time that she had accumulated to go on a couple of appointments. Her boss is like, well, I just don't think you're taking this job serious because you're more concerned about going to your appointments and going through IVF and having a child. And, basically saying we don't have the space for you. So, it's a very similar situation. She's working, she's doing freelance stuff now, and she's about to quit that job because she's like, I'm 35. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what I can and can't have, whether that be kids or a career or whatever. So I think that's one of the things that, she's practicing that audacity muscle, flexing that muscle, and then also building it up as well, because she worked so hard for this job, got certifications, got the knowledge, had mentors, did things she was supposed to do. And then, she said that she looked at it as someone was taking it away from her. But then she's like, you know what? I looked at it now as I'm moving towards a better opportunity, whether I know what that opportunity is or not, because she doesn't have anything planned exactly just yet. But she's like, I know my worth, I know my goals, and I know that I can have it all. Maybe not all at the same time, but she's like, I'm not going to let a person tell me what I can and can't do. So I think that's so important that you mentioned. And again, when we're talking about being worthy and having that self-worth, you have to believe in yourself and believe in your goals and the life that you have planned for yourself in order to kind of see that as well. Because if you're a person like, when we're young, we're a little more gullible and we let people tell us things and it can hurt our feelings. But when you know what you want, and I think especially for women, which is like crazy to me after we have kids, and people are like, oh, women are like worse employees, like mothers are worse employees. And I'm like, but where? Because usually having children or, getting custody of a child in some way or being a caregiver gives you more motivation to do better. And you want to do better because it's not just you, it's you and your little people at home who are depending on you, or it's you and someone else who's depending on you. So it's always funny to me when people use that as an excuse. Well, we didn't want to promote her because she has kids and, kids get sick. I'm like, yeah, they're humans. No big deal there. But I think that's just a great point that you mentioned, that you didn't let them take what they thought was the perfect employee or the perfect situation and let that mold your career. Because, what were you going to do? Leave your baby behind? Be like, okay, well, since you all don't want me to have a kid, let me just, push my kid to the side. Let's, hire a nanny, let them raise it, let the other parent, be 100%. Sure. Like, that's crazy to me. But I think it's very important to mention that, especially people who are mothers or people who are caregivers, having that extra oomph or having that extra, responsibility makes you more responsible, makes you more dedicated to doing the things that you need to do to take care of yourself, which is have income and, be able to put food on the table and be able to enjoy life a little bit better. So I love that you mentioned that.
Absolutely. Being a mom, we're the best managers there are. The best. And let me tell you something. Go up against a mama for something. You're going to lose. I got a 19, well, he just turned 19, 19-year-old. And I've been experiencing that grief too, that you talked about, Priscilla, because I started this business for him and now he's buying me AirPods. That's where we at now. He's going to the military. So now it's like, I am, feeling some grief because my role has changed a little bit and my why is changing now. I got an 11-year-old twin girls, but they're also, they're so much fun. But, they need me in a different way now too. I don't have to potty train them, but they need me emotionally. They need me to show, and it's like, it's just these different parts of my life are changing, all at once. And, it's just to navigate all of that and build a business or become a professional. I plan to take off in the fall and the winter, but automatically that does not mean I can take off from being a parent. That. I cannot take off from kids waking me up in the middle of the night saying they can't sleep or that they need help with. So I can't take off. I am always working at least 2 jobs at once, always. And so we are the best. I'm trying to figure out a way to put parenthood on the resume. Seriously.
Oh, I can help you with that. I'm good at words. So we'll come up with something. Awesome. No, but I was wondering, and you're talking about building the audacity muscle, right? Mm-hmm. So how has that changed your, definition of being worthy? Because I'm sure, being worthy when you were, before you built that muscle, and it's always changing. I think our definition of worth changes with each thing. So where is it where is it for you now? you know.
Oh my goodness. It means so much, so many things now that, you know, back then I had tunnel vision. I just wanted to be able to raise my baby. You know, I'm worthy of success. I'm worthy of a good job. I'm worthy of, and all those things are great. Like I am worthy of those things. But, you know, now that I've lived some more, you know, I am worthy of great clients. I am worthy of being paid for what I think, as well as what I can produce. I can get paid for both. I deserve to get paid top dollar. I am worthy even when I make a mistake, because the bigger you go in business, the more mistakes you're going to make. And you have to be able to come back from those mistakes, you know, like, you know, and we feel it. If something happens and we get bad review, they might send one of us to bed, you know, but the CEO of a restaurant with 5,000 locations, they don't care about bad reviews. And I know that hits different, but we have to grow again, the audacity to show up anyway, because we're running businesses and we got to get better. We can't just shut down, you know. So the audacity, I'm worthy to keep going. You know, right now I'm worthy to keep going, even though I deal with anxiety. I'm worthy to, you know, like I'm worthy of projects that are fun and clients that are great and amazing. I'm worthy of all those things. I'm worthy of building a life, of having a life for myself, you know, of building the type of marriage I want and my children. I'm worthy of having it all, every last thing that I want. You know, I don't think I knew a lot of things were possible back then, but now that I have a bigger idea, and I still don't know everything that's possible, because everything I've ever gotten, I've never asked for. It was 10 times better than what I could have dreamed. My reality has taught me how to dream, no lie. So I had to turn around and say, I had my worthiness, how I felt, had to catch up to what I was actually receiving. I was like, you got to feel worthy of this, because this starts Monday.
What I get so much out of watching or hearing you talk is so much of an embodiment of story. And that is such a huge part of what you do on a regular basis as is. So yeah. I kind of want to like talk more about some of these achievements, right, that you've been able to get to or attain, specifically through the Brave Branding Academy. That emphasizes building confidence and pushing past your fears. How do you specifically address the imposter syndrome that so many minority women in tech and the field experience?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Danielle, because, you know, everybody's got a course nowadays, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a community and a course, and everybody's selling information. What I have tied together is bravery needs to be, again, part of your brand strategy. And sometimes the bravery is to make your picture a little bit bigger. The bravery is to talk in a more authoritative way on your website. You know, sometimes it's those type of things. And so bravery means going past that imposter syndrome, even though you hear it, right? But in the Brave Branding Academy, you have me, somebody who can, you know, when you come to the office hours and things like that, I've seen what a winner looks like. I've seen what happens when you keep going and you got a great idea and you're building a good brand. It's a lot of stuff people just don't know is possible, but I know because I've seen it. I've done it for my one-on-one clients. So I'm helping you to ignore that imposter syndrome. So you get that information, you get the tactics on how to beat imposter syndrome, and then the strategy to actually build the thing that's going to show you imposter syndrome is lying to you. That's what the Brave Branding Academy is. My story is not that great. Yes, it is. Let's pick it apart and let me show you. Let me show you how to do this and where to put those stories and when to tell them. When to start telling your customer story too, because that's part of the storytelling. It's not all about you. Because a lot of people are ashamed that their testimonials are not big enough. It's so much shame filled in business. So I'm like, let me show you how great this testimonial is. Let me show you how this testimonial is more colorful than a screenshot of I made X amount of money in X amount of days. So it's confidence building, imposter syndrome busting, and brand building at the same time. That's what the Brave Branding Academy is.
My goodness. Okay, y'all, for real, got to sign up for that like ASAP, because I get so much out of it just from hearing you talk about it. I'm just like, man, I got to sign up tomorrow. And I love that, you know, I've been able to experience a clarity call with you before. And I love the fact that I got so much out of that, so much more than I thought I was going to. And you're absolutely right. It's I don't want to say it's the permission that you give, but it's the way you've been able to build up the courage and the inspiration to really push past fear. That's really what it is. And so I know for a fact that for anyone who signs up for Brave Branding Academy, you in for a treat, because Dana don't play. I love that. I love the fact that you continue to advocate this pushing past our fears. That's how we get to the other side, right? On the other side of fear, there's joy. So I'm really hoping that a lot of people who are in listening range of this episode is really picking up what Dana's putting down.
I was thinking when you're saying that, so when you're, you know, we all have that imposter syndrome, right? And you're talking about being brave, you know, to help us go past that. And I think that's when you get past that imposter syndrome. That's when those key pivoting moments happen. Mm-hmm. That's when they happen, is when you can get past that. Because if you can't get past that, I mean, you're not pivoting, right? So where was there a time like in your career where you got past that, that bravery step after the imposter syndrome? Like, where did that happen for you in your career?
So I'm going to talk about now leaving corporate America and starting a business, but also getting married and having twins all in the same year. So that's, I was 28. I was 28 then, and I just felt like I built the business because I said it's too expensive to go back to work. I literally said it's too what? I'm gonna bring home $500, just to go to work. So I was like, let me, make this work. And I had these babies crawling up and down my legs. I got this 7-year-old son, and I'm navigating marriage. And I was trying to figure out, how am I going to stand out? There's so many graphic designers out here, web designers out here. And also, even though I had a college degree in graphic design and was doing graphic design corporately, I was in print design. I became a self-taught web designer. So, and I was like, well, okay, I will bring my skill set of colors and branding to web design, because sometimes web developers don't have that skill set, and I'll make that my strength. Just trying to figure out some kind of way to do that difference. But I would say to myself, how am I going to stand out? How am I going to do this and do that? And I would doubt myself. I would be filled with self-doubt sometimes. But the other thing is, I'm gonna tell you something. What busts imposter syndrome real quick is when you get a client that tells you, I got a new corporate cleaning contract because you cleaned up my business card, because you cleaned up my, like, stuff like that. Truth and results will bust fear and imposter syndrome quick. And so what I tell people to do with imposter syndrome in life and in business, you got to build a history of showing imposter syndrome and anxiety thoughts to be a liar. So in business, what does that look like? Capturing results and testimonials, but telling them in very colorful ways, developing. See, it goes beyond like what y'all said, boy, that graphics, right? Developing a system on how you keep up with people's results 3 months from now, 6 months from now. I had a client that felt really good about her consulting session with me, but then told me like 6 months later, she sold a $10,000 digital illustration after I helped her pivot to become just that. you got to keep up, you know. And so now I got these receipts. You see what I'm saying? I got my resume in my face. Even though I'm an entrepreneur, you need a resume. You need to see what you've done. You need facts in your face. This person had no email signups and now they got 200. That's a big deal. A restaurant can't fit 200 in a party. You know, like, we have to constantly just build up. And then sometimes you just got to meet the thing head on. You know what? Sometimes and I'll even tell you this, because we go higher and higher and higher in things that we do in business. And so the imposter syndrome is still there, but it's about something different, something a bit more advanced. So I'm getting to the point where, okay, started out in graphics. Because I was a nosy graphic designer, I started doing consulting and stuff. And I got really, really, really good at it. But sometimes, because I know graphics, that could slow me down. And I get caught in the weeds, letter spacing and line height and all this other stuff. And so now, instead of creating a presentation, I'm designing the presentation. You see what I'm saying? And so sometimes I push myself, Dana, you're not going to present slides today. You're going to do this whole presentation and type in a Google Doc in front of these people and talk to them. That's the last consultation I did for branding for food entrepreneurs, to show them how to do content strategy for food entrepreneurs. And they loved it. I needed to see what I could do the least of. You know, it's like, I don't need all the acrobatics. I need all the intention and the thoughtfulness. But so so that's what I mean. So now I've built up a history. I've begun to build a history that shows, okay, I don't have to do that all the time. And so that when I do that, that means I have to push myself just a little bit. And then over time, I got this record internally of when it worked out and that fear was lying to me. I hope I answered that.
Yes, all of that. And then some.
You did. It's usually like, if it was Cicely, I'd say, no, that was a great church. Say churching right there.
I was saying that was a good segue into kind of asking what you do for self-care and kind of your recommendations for others for self-care. Because you mentioned all the 11 things that you do. So mom, wife, or, mom to multiples, mom to an adult now, wife, business owner, formerly in corporate, I'm sure daughter, sister, cousin, friend, all the things. So what is something that you do to kind of take care of yourself in the midst of all the things, all the hats that you have to wear, all the roles you have to play? And then kind of what recommendation would you have for self-care for others who have to juggle the same things that you do?
Well, boy. So guess what? My self-care stuff ties into taking care of me, and it builds my business at the same time. First thing I do not work on Mondays. I actually have blocked every Monday off in my Google Calendar as busy so that I cannot be booked for any calls. Now, what that means is I'll probably spend my Monday learning about new tech because I love that type of thing. I may spend my Monday looking at my plans, or I may spend my Monday doing something, but it's an easy day on my body and it's an easy day on my mind. Mondays, I think I call it Refresh Mondays. That's what I call it. And so that's mine. You see, that's mine. Another thing that I've been doing for the past few years is going to therapy. In the past year, I've been going every week. Now, in the beginning, I went to undo trauma. Trauma is what had me run up in there, and that helped me to undo a lot of things that made me feel like I was unworthy of being in the front just because I'm a woman, or, unworthy to make a certain amount of money because I was taught. So, I even have a blog post on my website about you're doing humility wrong in your business. I had to undo what I thought humility was in therapy. And so that, in addition to having like business coaches and stuff, that really helped me. And I will tell you, therapy has allowed me to lose 50 pounds. It helped me to release anxiety. It helps me to sleep better. All types of wonderful things has happened since I started going to therapy. Now, when I take a big leap in my life, I'll ramp up my appointments. So, hey, I'm rebuilding my business. I told my therapist I'm rebuilding my business. I want to go. I don't want to stop. I want to expand without flinching. She said, let's do it. So I'm in there every week. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm doing with that. When it comes to social media, stuff like, I mean, and when we talk about this all the time, social media management platforms, but it's healthy for you to only kind of look at social media through a dashboard that shows you your own metrics, your own data, your own feedback, because you're literally allowing stuff to come into your space when you're looking at a random feed. You know what I mean? And sometimes to dream, you gotta kind of get away from that algorithm, because your creativity has actually been lowered, because you keep seeing the same stuff, the same decorations, the same food, the same plating, the same house, the same cars. Everybody, you don't even know what's out there for anymore. So you need time to dream. You need time to rest. Sundays, I go bike riding. I rent. I have, you know how you go around town and they've got the bikes with the apps and stuff. I got a subscription to one, $136 for the whole year, and I can ride the bike whenever I want. So I do that, and it just frees my mind so much. It just frees my mind so much. Another thing I do is I have made a conscious effort to take better care of my skin. This is the 40-ounce bottle of water. I drink one of these in the morning. I just drink it room temp, and it just helped me so I know no matter what, I've had this. And I have, like, you can't be creative if you ain't hydrated. What are you doing? So, that type of, there's a lot of self-care practices. I'm gonna be honest with you, building my systems increased the space I had to practice the self-care. Like, there's no way I would be able to do this podcast if I had to constantly answer emails and be the admin in my business as well. So, like, I've literally been on vacation and have gotten booked or have gotten paid, or I've given somebody my press kit while I was in visiting my sister in San Diego. You know what I mean? But I didn't do it. It was something that automatically happened because somebody asked a specific question. And I teach other people how to do that too. Like, these practices build your self-esteem, and they build your, they build your branding too. As a Black woman, especially right now, I am finding ways to keep up with the presidential election in a way that doesn't hurt me, because there's a lot of rhetoric around Kamala about, her. I can't even repeat some of the things that has been said about her. It's sick. And the truth, and what we know as Black women and women of color is we instinctively know that's how they feel about me. If I just get a little bit more power, if I just get a little bit more than what I have now, it's going to be to the point where they can't help it either. And they're going to blurt out, oh, she's just a blank girl, or she's not qualified when she's done X, Y, Z. The rap sheet is there, because there's so many times that we have been told that our rap sheet doesn't mean anything. And to come to find out, you're the most qualified person up in there. You know what I mean? And so finding ways to take in news in a way that doesn't tear me down. And I even have to figure out ways to, as I consult Black women entrepreneurs in branding, I got to be mindful of what they taking in too, So that was a long answer, but it's a lot of things that I do to take care of my mind, and myself. I will tell you this. I use AI a lot, and I use it a lot. I use it in a lot of places in my business, but I especially use it in content creation. I use Claude a lot. I freaking love Claude, and Claude allows you to do. The issue is when you use something like that and you're really creative with your AI prompts, you're using a lot of brain power. You're using a heck of a lot of brain power. And so what happens is, before AI, you might design a website, head in a day, answer some emails, work on a proposal. But with AI, it's almost like you're completing 3 theses in a day. And you don't realize that's what you're doing. It's like you're doing very high level work. I created a brand messaging guide, a blog post, and this, and that. But it's also super tailored. It's not just something I allowed Claude to just give me. I super tailored it. And it got to the point I was using it so much, my head would hurt. And I said, Dana, you got to sleep if you're going to be using this like this. I mean, I know it's kind of geeky, but if this technology is allowing you to do deeper, like deep work every day, you gotta rest for real. You gotta rest. I got blue light glasses now.
Wow, yeah. I was gonna say
me too. Yep. But I love it. I think that's great. Like, and what I like, we asked this question, like just not everyone, because everyone's an entrepreneur. Everyone has like these several hats, but I think you really broke it down where it's not like, oh, I just get a massage every Thursday or something. Like, you're like, no, I do this, but then I also need to do this, and this is how this thing has impacted this. So I think you gave a really good example of, when I do this action, these are the results that I see from specifically doing that, especially with therapy. Like, your whole life literally changed. You said you lost weight, you're sleeping better, like you have better routines, your mind is clearer. So just from therapy, that's how much happened. And I think that's amazing. And I love how you the refresh Mondays, I love that. I love having a day where you don't do anything, or you get to do kind of what you want. I think that's one of the most important things as a parent, as a woman, as someone in business. Anyone who works really should have a day where they're allowed to just kind of do whatever they want to, whether that be lazy, reading a book, sitting around the house, playing with AI, whatever you want to do. But I think that's really important as well, to play around or just kind of decompress is really important.
It is. I got one more thing. Me and my husband, we got certain health goals and stuff, right? And what I realized also, sometimes you're tired because you're getting water, but you're not getting a lot of minerals and stuff, right? You need some electrolytes. You need some cucumber. You need some banana. So we go get organic seeded watermelon from the farmer's market every week, and we just eat that up in organic pieces. And I just feel like my insides are being washed every time I eat that, it's the small things, the $7 watermelon,
I love that. And I love this fact too. It's something so simple that anyone can do. It's not something super complicated. It's not complex. It's like anybody and everybody can go get you some watermelon, right? Yep. Anyone can go for a walk. Take that refresh Monday. Mine's on Fridays. I absolutely love that too, because again, we see this on TikTok now, right? We see all the time on TikTok, like we can set up something similar for ourselves where we can be doing a stair step in front of the TV and watching Friends and doing whatever. I've seen women out here, sipping on their, mocktail or mimosa or whatever, and here they are just burning rubber, watching whatever, Stranger Things or binging whatever show online. So I mean, I think that is, again, such approachable and easy tactics and steps, again, that are not too complex or complicated, y'all. This is real life things that we can do every day. So I personally follow you, as you know. I don't stalk yet, but I follow you pretty well. And there was one particular story that I was just personally touched by because it so mirrors very similar to stories for myself. And that was the one where you were talking about being in the convenience store and looking specifically at the magazine rack, and how much that was such a transformative moment for yourself to now go from looking through these magazines to now like being a part of the production and the process of that. I would love for you to kind of share that story from going from the magazine to designing magazines.
Sure. So I used to work at a convenience store when I was in college, became pregnant with my first born, my son. And so one of the reasons I started freelance was so I wouldn't have to work at the convenience store, because it got to the point where I was handling chemicals in the photo department, all types of stuff. And so I did everything in that store. At the time, again, I was in college, still learning, you know, in college, you still learning the design programs and how to think like a designer. So that's where I'm at, learning Photoshop and InDesign and all this other stuff. And I'm surrounded by packaging later on. Didn't realize I would become a packaging designer. Okay. And then I'm stocking the shelves and making sure, because, you know, there's a magazine aisle. And then all the magazines in the world, it looks like, are in that aisle. I had to keep those magazines nice and neat. And now I get featured in those magazines. I get mentioned in those magazines. Essence had a talk show and asked me to come to New York to film, to talk about being a Black woman in tech. And to think when I was 20 and pregnant and did not know exactly when I was going to graduate, what I was going to do next, I'm putting my hands on this Essence magazine and stocking it. And that later on, I would be on their talk show. I met Toni Braxton's sisters that day. Killer Mike was on that show that day. You know, and I'm just like,
Killer Mike.
Yeah, and what I said was, in that video that you're talking about, everything that you go through, every experience gets used. I didn't know when I was at that convenience store that I was getting a first row seat to what good package design can do. I didn't know I would end up working for a company that makes almost all the stuff that goes in the home storage section of a store. I didn't know that's what was going to happen. And when I was 17, I used to work at Target. I didn't know that I would design packaging for stuff in Target and Walmart and Aldi's and Container Store. And I didn't know that all those things would prepare me to help everyday people and content creators and stuff. Just the 5% of what I know about maintaining a corporate brand, I'm giving that to the creatives, the makers, the artists, the industry leaders, and they're doing amazing things, you know, and they're in the magazines too. It's just, you know, nothing gets wasted. Everything gets used.
I love that. That is absolutely transformational for me. Like, every time that I see it, it's so inspirational for so many of us who are on the other side of that, right? They're the ones in the convenience store. They're the ones that are working the shelves. They're the ones that are restocking the product. Little do they know that that exact same experience is what's going to supply them, endorse them, support them to the next movement of their lives when they're the ones inside the magazines. I just think that it gives me chills just to think about it.
And they'll know. They'll know the moment. They're gonna be like, "Oh wow." Mm.
Yes, absolutely. So I love that story. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, I think that's important. Like I love listening to, you know, how you're talking about back then and then, and it's nice because, you know, it's like one thing I tell my kids all the time, that everything, you know, I try to tell them about the appreciation of where things are. Like even this pen, I said, you know, before this pen, somebody sold the pen, somebody made the pen, somebody that made the different things, somebody, and how far back. They're tired of me saying that, but you know, that in itself, you know, that's a testament to everybody has worth, you know, whatever, even if it's a small little thing, you know, it is. So, I mean, I love, and I was saying, I was watching one of your, one of the videos, and the thing I just kept rewinding back and I loved it was the checkbooks. I said this, I felt like, oh, I just want to become friends, you know, because it just felt like something, you know, that I loved, like, you know, the build up to it that you were talking about. And it's, even such the small little things that we do, they are very impactful. I mean, and some people may not think that that's the case, but it is.
We talk about worthy and this advice that we could pass on to these younger generations. You know, for you, Dana, as a website strategist, what advice do you have for minority women in tech or in the creative industry to leverage their online presence to attract clients and build their brands more authentically?
Oh boy, there's so many ways you can do that. Let me break it down into some very small steps. A lot of times I say things that people are surprised as to how practical and simple the solution may be, because we're always looking for some type of intricate strategy, when the truth is it's a sequence of very simple things, right? So you got women in tech who are entrepreneurs. Then you got women in tech who are in corporate. Building your personal brand in corporate is different than building your brand in business. And so building your brand in corporate, I would say on LinkedIn, always talk about LinkedIn is your friend. And always talk about what you just learned, what you love, the things you've done. Talk more about the achievements or what you're learning. Show your certifications. Just always show that you're constantly learning on LinkedIn. And it's not necessarily to get the reactions. It's because people are always viewing your content, trying to see if you're the one for the job, right? And then even though you are a professional who is looking for a career, you still need a personal website. Everybody needs a personal website. Everybody needs a first name, last name.com. What does that look like for someone who's climbing the corporate ladder? It is a first name, it is a headshot. It's, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I love to do this, this, and that, and I work for these type of businesses. Download my resume here. Contact me here. It can literally be a one-page something. It doesn't have to be a 10-page website, but you need to start taking ownership of your name and your identity as much as possible online. Okay? And just as a professional, you want to show that you're a lover of the craft that you're in. You want to show that. You want to show your skill sets, and maybe every now and then you have a blog about the industry, and not just the industry, but your thoughts on the industry, because everybody's giving news, everybody's giving info. But if you give info plus your thoughts on the info, that's what makes you a leader in your field. Data plus how you interpret it. So that's what I would tell a professional and a woman in tech. Connect with every organization that supports women in tech. You cannot do this alone. You need allies. You need advocates. You need mentors, but I'm gonna tell you something. You need more allies and advocates than you think. You want everybody to be your mentor, but you need somebody to say your name in a room. That's what you really need, for real. You get you a mentor, but also don't expect everybody to be one. Some people just need to be people who are in certain places in organizations that you have an allyship with. You have to start building that. So that's that. And you know what? Even though if you're a professional, I would still take speaking engagements. I would still show, that this is what I do. I love, so that's what it looks like to have a brand as someone who works in tech, in corporate, but you're also showing that you can be a team player. That's what that looks like. A woman in tech having a business, she got to go for blood. Okay, listen, you got first name, last name.com, portfolio, all that stuff. Like, taking, and everybody keeps saying they don't have time to blog, they don't have time to do this. If you're a millennial, I know you got Facebook posts that need to be turned into blog posts. You got enough Facebook posts that are too big for Facebook. It should be on your own blog. Probably if you put them out for a week, you will have blog posts for a year. And that's just the honest to God truth. So take that stuff, make that content yours on your platforms, and also present yourself like a professional on LinkedIn. I love Threads. So I'm on Threads and I talk on Threads, but I use Threads like I'm on Quora, like I'm one of those people answering questions on Quora. That's that's a tactic that I use is, a lot of people vent about their industry on Threads, but I decided to be the opposite and be somebody who has answers on Threads. And that's purely a strategy because I want to go off too, but I'd be like, I can't be petty. I want to, but I can't. I have to give answers, so that type of thing. I am always doing speaking engagements. I'm always doing workshops and stuff like that, but I'm always documenting those speaking engagements and workshops, because if you don't have proof that you did them, if you don't have photo and video, what's the point? Honestly. So those things build up my platform, my website content, my social media content. I do radio interviews. I take my camera in there and I'm recording the whole thing. Now I got a 20-minute, 30-minute radio interview. I can chop up into 20-second bits and I can rerun that. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm building up content that shows how I think, okay? Which means that content never expires, which means that I only need about 50 pieces of that. Take them 50 pieces, show them once a week, twice a year. Come on. So those are just some of the small things. Those are just some of the small things you can do to assert yourself as an industry go-to person in tech. And please be an ally to other women, because I'm sitting here telling you, and I'm looking at this presidential climate, we may enter you have a woman president, you have a Black woman president, you have a woman of Asian descent president, so shut up. Mm-hmm. I feel like we might enter that era. So it's going to be important that women support each other. Put all this petty stuff aside. If you don't like me, or you can't afford to not be an ally. You cannot afford to not do that. Not because ain't no telling what's about to happen. We have to protect us. We have to be there for us. That's all I got.
I love this topic. I mean, this was, I'm finishing the sentence. We can't afford to not be allies. Okay. Like we can't. Okay. I mean, Dana, this was incredible. I absolutely love everything that you just mentioned just now, even from just the pathways to growing within the industry are so these are things that I had to do, right? Like on our clarity call, we had to have this conversation. She's like, it's gonna make you feel uncomfortable, but I'm gonna tell you and just receive it. I'm like, okay, I'm holding the desk, like, okay, just give it to me straight. And I mean, this was some of the most core things that I needed to hear. That .com got me. I mean, like, I was like, really, another one? How many? I've touched how many brands? How many hundreds of things that I had to do a .com for, and I have to do one for my name? Right. But no, that was the absolute turning point for me in understanding that I need to put myself in a place, not just the business in a place, but myself in a place, so that other people could attain and learn and connect to all the other places because they know my name. And so I just really value that sound advice that you're constantly giving. And so many of us in these spaces, y'all better be taking notes, because this is like no joke. We will have all of this, of course, in the show notes, but we are personally taking notes on the back end on ourselves right now in a group doc. So it's really important for us to just hold on to these nuggets that really speak to us. And then we actually will share, additional bonus thoughts on that as we go along. I know I will be sharing some stuff and stories just because this is so juicy, girl. This is so good. Dana, thank you.
I'm so thankful. This is amazing. I'm thankful for the questions you've been asking me. This is
right. All the flowers, Dana. You deserve them all. You've done so much, which kind of leads me into this conversation about the future, right? The future of minorities in the tech and creative spaces. What trends or opportunities excite you the most about?
Is what's funny in tech? You can literally create your own opportunity, and especially with AI and this is a time where you can create it. Darn, anybody can create some type of software. You know what I mean? For AI, even whether it's let's just talk real business, right? Whether you're creating AI powered apps or text from scratch, or you white label something that you really believe in and you market it as part of your business offerings suite. You see what I'm saying? There's so much opportunity. Like it's ridiculous. Now, what I would like to see more of is people of color and Black voices also shaping the output of AI. Do you know what I mean? Let me give you an example. So I'm in Memphis. I'm from Memphis. I live and work in Memphis, Tennessee. I love my city, but my city got some stuff going on, murders, crimes, all types of stuff. There was a young man named Tyree Nichols who was beaten and murdered by police. I asked ChatGPT to help me formulate my thoughts. I already had a post I wanted to write, but when I looked at what ChatGPT did to my post, it took the anger out. I didn't ask it to take the anger out. And I did not ask it to say the unfortunate demise of. No, I described in vivid detail what happened to Tyree, because we tend to, that post needed that. And I was able to see that the AI took that out. And I had to tell it, I didn't tell you to take it out. It's supposed to be angry. It's supposed to be, and I know why it did that. You know what I mean? Because we need, if it's not, this tech is not going anywhere. If there's a way to have AI content generators that truly understand the nuances and some of the things that people of color go through every day, and how we're hypersensitive to a lot of things because we have to be, that would be freaking amazing. Especially if you could make it something that's, I'm not misspeaking, but ChatGPT is open, Claude is open, but if you like software that allows you to just help you, you know what I mean? And it's closed, you know what I mean? Like I see that happening. Somebody, you're gonna be like, why not you, Dana? But I can see things like that, happening, things happening in virtual reality, and just more things going in that direction beyond web, beyond and even in AI, not just content generation, but business automation. I see you could literally, there are so many AI tools out there to help you do anything. People need consultants just to help them streamline their tech stack. What programs are you going to use? What are you going to get rid of? Like, you can really assert yourself right now. I subscribe to an e-newsletter or somebody, I downloaded a list of 1,700 AI-powered apps to help you do anything. Now, what is an organization supposed to do with that? So that's what value. Somebody just coming in and helping people make sense of what to use for their business. Like there's so many ways to become an expert with the explosion of this AI technology.
Okay, Dana, you're in my closet. Get out. But yes, I totally agree with you 110%. This is so funny. Watch this. I'm gonna watch this in 1 month and be like, I already wrote that blog post. So I love that this will roll out later. But I love the fact that you say this, because a lot of people don't know where to go. They don't know where to look. They know that it exists, but it overwhelms them because of all of the unlimited choices. It's like, who do I trust? How do I trust it? And they would rather rely and trust a person, right? Than the machine.
And
so,
I'll say one more thing. Because info is out there, right? Courses are $7 now, right? You got a list of 300 tools to try. What's valuable now and what's worth money now is giving people the tool. Not based on it being perfect, but it being based on the fact that it can get you from point A to B. This is what you need to use right now. No, it does not have all the features, but for right now, start. Use this. When we get to point B, this is the tool to use. It's time to tell people the tool to use, the tech stack to use, not 10,000 different options. If you can become that person in any field, give people exact answers, because exact strategy, exact answers, and what to do in the right time, in the right place, that type of teaching is missing in darn near every industry. You will make a killing. I'm sitting here telling you.
Sorry, on my list. Like, yep, I gotta check that box. Yes, gotta go do that. We get the person.
All this talk that you've had today, and it's like, and I see where you are, like right now, loving where you are right now and stuff. And I'm the one that likes to ask the questions about like, what were you when you were younger? What did you want? Because I always believe that what we were before, you know, before we became a grown up, that's what we end up being when we become past the grown up and we've like matured into our space. That a lot of it is reminiscent of what we initially when we were younger. Yeah. So I want to know, like, for you, like when you were growing up, what did you, you know, in your heart of hearts, was it that your initial, you know, young you were wanting, and is that like, does it reflect to where you are right now?
Well, I'm gonna tell you now, this is a good story. I was told that I started drawing around 4 or 5. My mama said I was making some stuff, drawing it, and then I made some appliques or something, put it on a door or something or whatever. I said, whoa, for real? I did that. But I was always drawing as a kid. I would draw people. I would draw anything that was sitting there. I would look at it and draw it. I would draw things upside down. I would draw things with one line. I would do, you know, and I would start drawing fonts because I had them all on Microsoft Publisher. So I said, I'm going to draw them because I feel like it. I'm going to draw your cards. And then I started drawing houses. And at one point I thought I wanted to be an architect, you know. So they sending me sweet notes in the private chat. I'm coming up there. I'm coming. Just know. We're gonna talk.
Please do. So, I'll send you my address.
I'm so serious. I'm coming. Okay. So I'm drawing, but it's not clicking. This is the early 90s now. Okay. So it's 91, 92, 93. I'm 10. Okay. I'm not realizing, you know, I'm not realizing I can be an artist because I'm watching Doug, right, on Nickelodeon. Doug's sister is who? A floaty artist that don't really belong nowhere. And that was the profile of the artist. The artist is someone who is not solid, who doesn't have any footing. And I believe that too. So I thought my art was just a hobby. But I thought I could be an architect, but then I was like, I'm not that good at math. I let math scare me away from architecture. But so I keep going, but I'm also good at a lot of other things. I can sing, I can write very well. A lot of people in my family can write and draw. And so I got all these things going. And so I went to college undecided because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I seen this girl walking down campus. I never forget. She was a Delta. She was in a Delta sorority. She had on her sorority jacket. She had this big old black portfolio. Her hair was swinging. I could tell she just came from the beauty shop. This like 2001. I said, who are you? She said, I study graphic design. I said, I think I want to do that. So I didn't even know what graphic design was, not knowing that the summer before I was working in Target and I was attracted to all of the design in Target, the seasonal posters and the things hanging from the walls, not realizing graphic designers had something to do with that. Again, a job preparing you for something you don't even know you're about to embark on. So I majored in graphic design and I loved it. And I loved the fact that it was art tied to the outcome for a business. Now, I went to an art school that taught me graphic design as an art form, pretty much. But then I went to another school. I graduated from the University of Memphis. And that's the school that taught me graphic design for conversions, graphic designs to build businesses and nonprofits. I had real world work before I graduated from school with my college assignments. So I am, you know, and my family didn't have a template. Like they thought I was gonna be like Doug's sister too, you know. So they was like, "You doing this? You going up there to draw cartoons?" And now I'm doing this for real. And so like I go and I teach kids. I have a talk called "Art is a Safe Job," and I teach other kids and high school kids and just all the things they can do with art and stuff. But yeah, I think I just thought I was going to be an English teacher or teach, but just kind of have a hobby. But what has happened is my hobby, my skill set, what I do for a living, my ministry, and my activism has all become one thing. Didn't nobody even tell me that was possible. that also helps life to be more harmonious. But now I got to go find another hobby. Like, that's why I ride bikes and stuff. But yeah, that's my answer. That's my answer for that.
I love this. Okay, I had no idea. Okay, I knew that it was very artsy. Okay, but then you made the Doug reference, and I'm like, this is why we're friends. Like, this is why.
We're friends. You know what I'm talking about.
I was such a huge Patty Mayonnaise fan. I loved Patty.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of Skeeter. Skeeter was like the best friend that I always wanted to have in real life, but I could only reach the TV and get. So
right.
I was such a Daria fan as well. So I was huge Daria and Jane. That was my go-to.
The artist.
Yes, absolutely. I was such a Jane. In real life, that was totally me. So I love the relatable context, but I also love, again, those core features, those core content, those core pillars of what you wanted to be growing up, being in that sphere. And I love how it's so like reflective of what you are now. It's so, what you do is more than graphics. What you do is a lot more than the sphere, right? That we kind of feel sometimes contained to, or have to be relatable or tied down to. So I just really am always inspired, one, by your story, one by, shout out to D9, by the way, the Deltas came through. Okay. So I really love the fact that we just have so many cool clicks and bonds and ways that we can encourage and inspire each other through whatever the hurdle may be, whether you're in the creative field or in the tech field. So thank you so much for your expertise and your wisdom.
Thank you for having me. I'm taking a selfie of us on my computer right now, and I just feel like I got the rest of your friends there. Yeah,
I know, right? Bring them in, girl. Bring them in. Bring them in.
I'm just so happy to just have this conversation. I know it's going to help a lot of people.
Absolutely. And for those who are in listening range and really want to find more information about Dana, how can people find you?
So you can find me everywhere at Dana James Mwangi, Mwangi. Quick branding tip. You ain't got to guess. It's all one thing. I am everywhere at Dana James Mwangi. My website is danajamesmwangi.com, and I have a blog there where I talk about branding from a holistic perspective. So check those blog posts out. And also my business, Cheers Creative. You can go to www.cheerscreative.com and learn more about the Brave Branding Academy.
I love it. We'll have all this information inside our show notes. So we can move on to the wrapping up this entire episode with our flash questionnaire. Dun, dun, dun. Are you ready for some really, really, really random questions that we're waiting for the first answer that randomly pops into your head?
Yes, I'm ready.
This is my expert. This is my expert section.
Okay.
So first thing that pops in. Okay. So first one, if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be? And what would your superhero name be?
My superpower, I've always wanted to fly. What my superhero name would be, I don't know what my superhero name would be. I have no idea. But as you were talking, just Rogue's name just popped up in my head from X-Men. But I don't know what my name would be. Probably something like Majestic or something. I don't know. But I would definitely fly. I used to think I wanted to know other people's thoughts. I used to think I wanted other people's knowledge. No, I'm good. I'm good on that, because the more you know, sometimes you just be angry. So I just want to fly.
Prime example, Sister Sage, The Boys. There you go. That's your example. You don't want to know everything.
It's like that. You know, remember The More You Know on the.
Yeah, right. I do.
No, thank you. I'm good. So, okay. So what's your go-to karaoke song? And can you give us a quick rendition?
What?
Hey, I've done it. I've done it.
I have so many. You asked the actual singer. I love Lauryn Hill. I can sing anything by Lauryn Hill. Excuse me. Sweetest thing I've ever known is like a kiss on the collarbone. Soft caress of happiness. The way you walk, your style of dress. I'm gonna speed it up. So like a queen upon her throne. It's like the sweetest thing I've known. But yeah, I love to sing.
I was gonna ask you, if I can't go to sleep later, can I call you and you can just
I will send you a voice memo.
Okay.
But I love jazz. I love Ella. I get sentimental when you hold me tight. So please me, but please don't tease me. Ever since you went away, thinking about you through the day, longing and crying for you. I'm in a mood to let you know I love you so. Please say you love me too. When I get there, I'm in ecstasy. So please me, but please don't tease me. I literally tell people Ella Fitzgerald taught me how to sing.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, Lord, I'm just gonna have to take a whole moment for myself. There you go.
I don't want to ask any more questions. I want her just to keep going. But I'll ask you one more question. How about okay, let's see. Let me think. Which one do I want? Okay. So if you had to survive a zombie apocalypse, what three items,
I'm ready. Yeah. Go ahead.
What 3 items are you gonna grab before you make a run for it?
Okay. Coconut oil. Hold on. I'm gonna grab. Me and my kids talk about this all the time. Okay. Coconut oil. Does a car count as a thing?
I mean, can you grab it?
I mean, I'm grabbing, getting the car. A car. Let's see. Gas. Okay. I can't make it 3. Food and feminine products. I'm sorry. I got it because I mean, we women. We got periods.
I know.
Right.
You best
right. In the car. No, that's like
Jesus.
Well, that's what I think. Whenever I was watching, Walking Dead, I'm like, what about?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
That's rough.
That's rough for real.
Mm-hmm. That's Bridgerton vibe. I can't.
We're gonna get all the menstrual products. Y'all stealing food.
Got Carl sitting on the roof eating peanut butter or whatever, and I'm like, I need some products.
You need products.
I need products. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's good. Oh, hey, yeah. Can you share one embarrassing moment from your past that you can laugh about now?
I've had plenty of awkward, embarrassing moments. But mainly, I can't think of one that just stands out right now. But I'm always mistaking somebody for somebody else and running up to people like, it's you. And they're like, no. I'm like, I do that quite a bit. Please forgive me. Embarrassing. I mean, other than again with the menstrual stuff, sitting in the family living room in Mississippi in dinner with all your cousins and aunts and uncles, and you get up and there's a little surprise that you left on the couch. Because you on your menstrual, you just started and you're trying to figure out how to navigate this thing. Yeah.
So it's from that moment that made you think about for your apocalypse.
Heck yeah, I always think about where the pads at. I always think about where the pads, the cups, the tampons, where it's at.
That's our safe place. That's how we know.
It is.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Okay, I think she passed. Priscilla.
Good.
You passed with flying colors. Dana.
Yeah. I'll
Awesome.
share some of our stuff after.
Okay, Priscilla, any final words to wrap up the episode?
No, I was just very. I love hearing you speak. Hair flying over. I love hearing you speak, watching you speak. But I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. And yeah, I tell Danielle every single time that we always have to do all those shows when they have the comeback, the guests and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need a lot of those. So I got you on our list.
Thank you so much. You know I'll be there. Y'all just tell me what time and when, and I'll be there.
Tomorrow.
Wait. Wait a minute.
Quick.
Too soon.
I love it. Well, again, Dana, thank you so much. I always appreciate our time together. Keep being an inspiration for so many of us who are working on climbing our own ebb and flow of life in the creative and tech space. And I always appreciate hearing so much feedback from our episodes when we have guests like you on our show that continue to tell us that, hey, this was inspirational. I got so much out of this. I can't wait for the next one. So for all of you out there, thank you so much for continuing to show the world what it's like to have women of color take over these conversations in these spaces and keep advocating for ourselves. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, to this very special episode of the More Than Graphics podcast. For exclusive emails and comprehensive episode details, or simply to vote for us in that Women in Podcasting Awards, visit our website at mtgthepodcast.com. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook by following #MTGThePodcast. So until we meet again, we're reminding you that you are more than the work you produce. You are more than your name badge, and you are definitely more than graphics. We'll catch you next time.
And just like that, the episode ends, but the convo has just begun.
Thanks for listening to the MTG podcast.
We want to hear from you. If you enjoyed our podcast, give it a review on your listening app of choice.
Continue to follow us across MTG socials.
And look out for bonus content releases throughout the year. This podcast is produced by Octane Design Studios.
Until next time, friend.